The Clark County Treasurer's Office collects and protects public funds for local governments, including the county, cities, ports, and school districts. Recently, we sat down with Treasurer Alishia Topper to talk about ways her office is providing property tax relief for those in need.
Hello, I'm Jim Demon with Clark County Close-Up. Thank you so much for meeting with us.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, Jim.
So, Alishia, what are some of the main services provided by your office?
Yeah, so I'm excited to be here representing the Clark County Treasurer's Office. And some of the main core services are collection and distribution of property taxes. We also manage an investment portfolio in our office of just over $1 billion. We also manage all of the banking contracts for many of our local governments, like school districts and fire districts in the county. And we also are in charge of managing debt. And not just debt for Clark County, but debt on behalf of our other taxing districts, like schools and fires and libraries and anyone else who may seek some capital for new buildings or infrastructure like new fire trucks.
Okay. Are you elected?
I am elected, yes. Every 4 years I'm up for re-election, so I'm here on behalf of constituents of Clark County.
And then what's your office relationship with Clark County government itself?
Great question. So the way that we're set up, and it's actually our state constitution, and then we have our own local charter. So I'm one of 6 independent elected administrators in the county. So I provide regional services for other taxing districts, and the county is essentially one of my customers.
Okay. So in your 2024 Treasurer Report, you noted the last year was a record year for your office. Can you provide just some general overview?
Yes, so as you know, Clark County is growing, which means our customer base is growing. The number of parcels or properties that we're managing is growing. And so we saw growth in the number of customers that we assisted throughout the year. But most notably, we saw a very large investments earning on our investment portfolio. We earned over $40 million that we were able to give back to the schools and to fire districts and library and cemetery districts and others so they could put that to good use here in our community. So we're very proud of that investment portfolio and that record-breaking year.
Great. Your report also discussed, back to 2024, some upcoming improvements in technology and customer service. Can you give us kind of an overview of some of these projects?
Yeah, you know, it's always fun to be able to put things in an annual report and reflect back on your prior year accomplishments. Some of the things that we put in that report that customers will be excited to hear about is the joint lobby, which is a partnership down at the Public Service Center, the county building, 2nd floor, and it's where we provide services for the auditor's office, the assessor's office, and the treasurer's office. And we are currently undergoing a remodel of that space to provide customers with a little bit more privacy. It'll provide a little bit more flow, and it'll enhance our security in that location. So that is a major improvement that is underway and should be completed by the end of tax season next April. The other technological upgrades, obviously, as we advance into the future, we're more and more dependent on technology. All of our systems rely on it, and our customers rely on it to be able to do work with us. So we are enhancing some things called API, which is essentially how our systems talk to one another. It'll be more seamless when people go online to pay their taxes. That'll be real-time data versus a 24-hour lag. So if someone paid through our online system today and they went and looked tonight, it still would reflect as an unpaid balance. So sometimes we get double payments because of that lag. So we're working really hard to create real-time information so customers have the most accessible information possible.
Great. Let's talk about property tax bills.
Yeah.
On your typical bill, how many jurisdictions are represented?
So jurisdictions, taxing districts, just over 40, but there are over 90 levies that we are managing. So, and then we have obviously special assessments. We have about a dozen special assessments on top of that. So depending on where you live in the county, that determines what line items are on your statement and what municipalities that you are paying taxes to. So that is always a hard question because depending on where you live, Jim, that'll be a different number than where I live.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so just so people understand, so when they see that property tax bill, it's not all going just to Clark County. it's going to a number of just jurisdictions.
That's right, yeah, and it's depending on the taxing district's boundary area. So if you live in downtown Vancouver, you're in the City of Vancouver's jurisdiction, you're in Clark County, you're in Vancouver Public Schools, you're in the Port of Vancouver, you're in the library system, and there's obviously going to be some special assessments like mosquito control, and then we have clean water and others. So yes, it is definitely going to be dispersed to multiple different organizations.
Great. So when are property tax bills sent out, and what are some options people have for paying now?
Yeah, so we're one of the only counties in the state of Washington that send 2 property tax statements. We send our first, which is the statutory deadline. It's due April 30th, so we try to mail them in mid-February. Second half installment is coming up. Second installment is due October 31st. And so we just mailed statements, and they hit mailboxes the past weekend, which would have been September 16th.
Okay.
So tax statements are out there now. I'm not sure when this will air, but yeah, if you have questions, our office is open with staff to answer them.
Great. On your website, clark.wa.gov/treasurer, there's a list of a number of different property tax relief options. Can you explain some of the programs, how they work, and how you can apply?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. You know, sometimes taxpayers get behind with their bills, and property taxes are no exception to that. So the state legislature sets all of the flexibility that county treasurers have in how we handle late taxes. So there is a law that allows low-income individuals, which low income is measured by the same income as the senior exemption program. So if you're low income and you're behind, we can waive your interest and penalty if you qualify. And then as well, if you are over a certain age, if you're a senior, you can apply if you're low income for the senior exemption and deferral program. And that's managed by the assessor's office, but we work very closely with them to help people that may qualify who are behind on their taxes. We had a few other programs, Jim, right after the pandemic with funding from the federal government, which was called ARPA funding. Unfortunately, all that money has been spent, and so some of the other programs we had to help people actually pay their taxes have expired.
Okay. You serve on the Washington State Housing Finance Commission. What is the mission of the commission, and how long have you been serving on this commission?
Yeah, so the Washington State Housing Finance Commission is a state governed by the governor. Opportunity for me to serve on a board that has a big impact statewide. But here locally, the commission was able to help bring in more than 2,700 units of affordable housing through their low-income housing tax credit program. So essentially their mission is to provide access and equity into financing for multifamily and for homeowners that are looking to buy a home that are lower income. So they do have a down payment assistance program. They also have energy conservation programs. But essentially, they're helping to bring affordable housing to our state. And it's been an honor to serve since 2017. I'm actually going to be terming out of my commission seat here shortly. And I've been working really hard on recruiting someone from Southwest Washington to represent this part of the state up in Seattle, where they have their meetings every month.
Great.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with viewers?
Yeah, I would just like to encourage viewers who have an interest in learning more about our office to check out our website. We've worked really hard on increasing transparency, and all of those programs I discussed in the beginning of our interview, our debt management, our billing and collection and distribution of property taxes, our investment portfolio, and our banking services, all have a section on our website. So you can dive in and look at reports and statistics, and you can, if you're really geeky like me, you can look at our spreadsheets and our meeting minutes and learn everything you want about the Clark County Treasurer.
And that's clark.wa.gov/treasurer, and your phone number 564-397-2252.
That is correct, yes.
Well, thank you so much for meeting with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.